My wife was cold and aloof. In 50 years of marriage, she never once said she loved me. Not until the day I was 70, drawing my last breaths. I squeezed out one final smile and asked her, "In 50 years of marriage, have you loved me for even a single day?" Seeing her hesitate, I already had my answer in my heart. I glanced at our descendants through the haze and finally said one last thing to her. "If there were a redo, I would never want to love you again." After saying that, I closed my eyes and lost consciousness. When I woke up again, I had been reborn back to my high school days. In this life, I decided I would never provoke Li Shiya again. But 3 months before the college entrance exam, she suddenly transferred to our class and insisted on being my desk mate. I subconsciously moved my chair to stay away from her, but she grabbed my collar. "Jian, why did you die so fast?" "I haven't answered the question you asked me yet." I familiarized myself with this young body and looked at the classmates around me, listening intently to the lecture. This wasn't a dream, perhaps because of my strong will. Before death in my previous life, I really was reborn. Since heaven gave me such an opportunity, then in this life, I will never provoke Li Shiya again. In the previous life, because the Li family's company encountered some difficulties, the Li family proposed an alliance with my Yang family to cooperate with our company. Li Shiya was a famous prodigy of No. 1 high school, a top-tier student who later became an international violin master. I, on the other hand, was the tail ender, sitting by the window in the back row. I only got into a third-tier college. After graduation, I followed my family's arrangements to learn at the family company and take over my father's position. Because Li Shiya was beautiful and sensible, my father gladly agreed to our marriage, and I was more than willing. But Li Shiya had someone she liked back then. The Li family forcibly separated them and made her marry me. Li Shiya was never happy after marriage. No matter how well I treated her or how much I did, she never once gave me a smile. That's why, before I died, I asked her if she had loved me for a single day in 50 years. Facts proved that 50 years of love couldn't move her. In this life, I won't provoke her anymore. However, I won't interfere with the cooperation between the Li family and mine. Because a few years later, the scale of the Li family's company will grow beyond expectations, and the Yang family will also reap many benefits. So there's no problem with the cooperation. I won't interfere. It's just that there's no need for the Li family to sell their daughter to me. What I need to do in this life is seize the time to study, make up for the regrets of the previous life, and then use the knowledge accumulated over the next 50 years to fulfill my father's regret of wanting the company's products to go international. So during the period before the exam, I studied like crazy. Classmates were shocked to see me looking like a different person. "Jian, you don't go play basketball after class anymore? You don't go to the internet cafe after school? Are you possessed?" I came back from 50 years in the future. Failing to get into a top university was a regret in my last life, so I want to make up for it. My desk mate naturally took me for a lunatic. The tail ender from the back row, wanting to get into a top university? Pure pipe dreaming. Half a month later, my dad called and told me to come back early after school because there would be guests in the evening. He also told me to buy some gifts that girls like. I knew it was Li Shiya coming. In my last life, I thought since we were still high schoolers, lipsticks or bags might not be appropriate. So I went to great lengths to buy several large bags of gifts. Dolls, crafts, everything. In the end, Li Shiya just glanced at them coldly. Quote, "Childish. I can hardly imagine how miserable life would be with someone like you in the future." In this life, I still bought several big bags, but they were even more childish. Remote-controlled racing cars, Barbie princesses, and so on. Almost all toys for small children. I carried the bags home. When my dad saw me return with so many things, he quickly winked at me and then pretended not to know, saying, "Son, this is your first time meeting Xiaoran, and you brought so many gifts? How come I've never seen you be this thoughtful toward me?" I didn't bother with him. I carried the big bags to the living room and casually dumped the toys inside. The wheels of a remote-controlled car even fell off. I wiped my hands and said to the cold Li Shiya, "Nah, my dad asked me to bring gifts for you." Time was tight, so I bought these at a roadside stall. Otherwise, I would have gone to a big supermarket. The quality there is better. Seeing this floor full of toys for 3-year-olds, my dad was so angry he picked up a slipper to hit me. But I wasn't afraid. I was 70 years old in my previous life, and my dad is not even 40 yet. Logically speaking, I am the elder. I flopped onto the sofa, crossed my legs, and said in the tone I used to lecture my grandson, in my previous life, a man of your age, not acting like an adult at all. What kind of behavior is this? My dad, Li Shiya, and her parents were all stunned. After a while, my dad laughed somewhat awkwardly. Well, my son and I have a great relationship. Usually, when there are no outsiders, we don't watch our words. So he clearly doesn't treat you as outsiders. Hearing this, Li Shiya's parents beamed with joy, while Li Shiya kept a straight face. She probably thought that in this life, I would still be willing to become a family with her. In this life, I don't want to waste 50 years with someone who doesn't love me. I walked up to her and said coldly, since you don't like the gifts I bought, I'll pack them up and play with them myself. As I spoke, I prepared to pack them. Unexpectedly, she snatched a Barbie princess from my hand and, for the first time ever, showed a smile I had never seen before. I like it very much. I was beyond shocked. She smiled at me? How is that possible? This was the first time she had smiled at me in the 50 years I'd known her. Could it be she isn't Li Shiya, or was she possessed? Or did this Barbie princess really hit the mark in her heart? I didn't bother to think about it. Regardless of what she's like, I won't have any intersection with her in this life. Sorry, this Barbie princess is one I bought for myself. The rest are yours. I thought this would make Li Shiya angry and lead to us never speaking again. To my surprise, she held those toys I bought with a trace of a smile on her face. In my last life, I bought her jewelry and bags worth millions, and she wouldn't say an extra word to me. Could her hobby be these children's toys? I thought she was being unreasonable. Dinner began, and my dad and her parents kept trying to set us up, but I remained unmoved. Although she didn't speak either. I knew she was very resistant in her heart because she had a childhood sweetheart who was a year younger than her. In the last life, I heard that Li Shiya planned to confess to her childhood sweetheart after high school graduation. My appearance tore them apart. So in this life, I will fulfill your wish and hope never to be linked with Li Shiya again. It wasn't until midnight when their family of 3 was about to head back. I hadn't said a word to her. My dad pulled me to see them off at the door. Li Shiya suddenly said she forgot her backpack and left it on the sofa. My dad asked me to help fetch it. Very reluctantly, I brought the backpack out and handed it to her. She said thank you to me in a calm tone. She actually said thank you to me? That was truly the biggest joke I'd heard in 2 lifetimes. My expression was cold. I didn't acknowledge her and turned back to my room. Behind me, I heard my dad explaining frantically. He's just in a bad mood lately. He's not usually like this. Please don't let it affect the marriage between our 2 families. The next day, I went to school as usual. Halfway through class, the head teacher said a new student was arriving today. Then the person came, and I was completely stunned, because the new student was none other than Li Shiya. After a brief introduction, the head teacher told Li Shiya to sit in the first row. Li Shiya's grades were among the best in her previous school, so the head teacher arranged for her to sit next to the class monitor. Unexpectedly, Li Shiya shook her head and walked straight toward me. She then reached out her hand and said politely, "We meet again. Can I sit next to you?" I froze. Was she talking to me? Before I could think, Li Shiya asked again, "Jian, can I sit next to you?" The head teacher came over as well, and hurriedly said to her, Jian is the tail ender of the class. Don't sit with him. Go sit with the class monitor. Monitor's grades are number 1 in the school. You can study together and complement each other. I wasn't angry hearing that. After all, it was the truth. In high school, although I wasn't a bad student, I often skipped class to play basketball. Li Shiya rejected the head teacher and smiled at him. "Thank you for the kind offer, teacher, but I'll sit with Jian. I know him." The head teacher frowned and then glanced at me. "Don't you go affecting her studies. Li Shiya's grades are high enough to compete for the city's top scholar." In the previous life, although Li Shiya wasn't the top scholar, she was close. The reason she slipped was because she learned she was to be betrothed to my family, which separated her from her childhood sweetheart, causing her to underperform. That's why the head teacher treated her like a treasure. If she became the top scholar, The head teacher status and value would skyrocket instantly. But none of that had anything to do with me. In this life, I just want to get into a university, study finance. Well, and use the 50 years of experience from my last life to take my family to a higher level. Thinking of this, my face went cold. I reached out and blocked the seat next to me. I'm used to sitting alone and don't want someone sitting next to me. Besides, student Li Shiya, I didn't know you before. We only met once last night. You should change seats so as not to affect your studies. The class went silent. No one expected I would reject such a school beauty level girl. Li Shiya's expression went blank for a moment, but she quickly recovered that high and mighty, overbearing look I knew so well. She put her bag on the desk, pushed my hand away, and sat down. This seat doesn't belong to your family. I'll sit wherever I want. I had faced this face of hers for 50 years. Seeing it now made me very uncomfortable. I don't know how I endured it for 50 years in my last life. I slammed the book in my hand onto the desk, which startled her. Fine, sit wherever you like. I have no right to interfere. After saying that, I packed my bag, grabbed my things, and walked straight to a seat near the trash can. Because trash was piled there year-round, it smelled a bit, and the seat was just used for miscellaneous items. I pushed the clutter aside, put my bag down, grabbed the basketball from the floor, and waved to a few kings of the back row. They understood instantly and followed me out to play. The head teacher's angry shouting echoed from the classroom. I played basketball with them all morning. At noon, after the last game, I was about to buy some ice water when a figure walked over and stuffed a bottle of water into my hand. For you, it's not cold. You shouldn't drink ice water right after exercising. Several classmates looked at me mischievously, snickering. Brother Jian, I didn't realize you were so charming. Or jealous. Yeah, room temperature water is so thoughtful. I glared at them fiercely. Don't talk nonsense, or next time I'll give your heads an aerial dunk. Then I looked at Li Shiya, my expression turning cold again. No need. I'm used to drinking cold water, student Li. Although our families have business cooperation, forget about the marriage my dad mentioned. I know you have a childhood sweetheart, and you're very close. You like them very much, and I'm not interested in you either. So there's no need for us to get to know each other. I'll talk to my dad. It won't affect the business cooperation. This is better for both of us. After saying that, I gave the water back to her, picked up the basketball, and left. Rather than getting entangled and ending up dying with regrets like in the last life, it's better to draw a clear line early. I reached the bus stop and was about to board. Li Shiya ran up hurriedly from a distance, her face pale with anger as she grabbed me. I knew she was angry because I rejected her water. Just as I was about to shake her off, her strength suddenly increased, and she pinned me against the bus stop sign, grabbing my shoulders. With a trace of complaint in her voice, she said, Jian, don't think you're the only one who was reborn. If you keep treating me like this, believe it or not, I'll tell your dad you're bullying your future wife. My mind went blank instantly. Li Shiya was also reborn? Seeing me dazed and silent, she continued, Jian, I am your wife. In 50 years of marriage in the last life, you couldn't even bear to raise your voice to me. In this life, how many times have you been mean to me since yesterday? Looking at her eyes filled with tears, I frowned. She really was reborn. But from our first meeting yesterday until now, her behavior wasn't like the Li Shiya of the last life at all. It was as if she'd been possessed. I couldn't figure it out, so I didn't bother thinking. Since we've both been reborn, let's each make up for our own regrets. In the last life, she and her sweetheart were separated, and she was forced by her family to marry me, being unhappy for a lifetime. In my last life, I married a woman who didn't love me. My father died from exhaustion over the company, and in the end, I died with regrets, failing to fulfill my father's wish of taking our products global. I looked at Li Shiya and said seriously, Li Shiya, since you've also been reborn, that's even better. In this life, I won't get in the way of you and your sweetheart. You don't need to approach me just to ensure the cooperation between our families. You lived in my house for so many years. You know, my dad and I aren't those kinds of people. Besides, you were a business queen in the last life. The knowledge you hold is enough to make you brilliant again without my family's help. At the end, I took a breath. After all, I loved this woman for 50 years. It did hurt a bit to let go. Li Shiya, goodbye. After saying that, I was about to turn and leave when someone on a Ghostfire scooter stopped in front of us. The person on the scooter took off his sunglasses and grinned at Li Shiya. Shiyaji, I'm here to pick you up. Why did you transfer schools for no reason? Now I have to drive an extra half hour every day to get you. I recognize this youth. He was Du Ziteng, Li Shiya's childhood sweetheart. His family started with an electronics factory, but they lost a lot later on, and the factory remained mediocre, though they were still much wealthier than ordinary families. Li Shiya's father was initially a partner in the factory but later withdrew. Li Shiya and Du Ziteng naturally grew up together. Because his father's factory wasn't doing well, he was rarely supervised. So he hung around with some thugs and became a ghost fire youth. But he was quite good to Li Shiya. He didn't pull her into his world. Perhaps in Li Shiya's eyes, this was why she never forgot him. Even though he became a delinquent, he couldn't bear to hurt her or let her become a bad girl. At this time, Du Ziteng and I didn't know each other, but I didn't want to know him either. I glanced at him and turned to leave. Behind me came Li Shiya's voice, though a bit lower. "Yang Jian, you bastard!" Waiting for the green light at the intersection. I subconsciously looked back and saw Li Shiya get on Du Ziteng's scooter. I looked at the sun high in the sky. The glare made my tears fall. Growing fond over time, or staying together through thick and thin, it's all nonsense. I loved her with all my heart for 50 years. Yet after being reborn, 50 years of affection couldn't beat a childhood sweetheart. After returning home, I asked for a few days' leave because I didn't want to go to school and see her. Although my dad was angry, he couldn't sway me because my mom died early. He still doted on me, his only son. After resting for a few days, I told my dad I wanted to transfer schools. My dad looked at me in shock. "The exam is almost here. Why are you transferring? And your fiancé specifically transferred from number 1 high to be in your class. What will she do if you transfer now?" I deliberately waved my hand with frustration. "When did I ever agree, Dad? I said I don't like her. And she has someone she likes, and it's not me. A forced melon isn't sweet. If you force me again, I'll jump from this 3rd floor to find my mom." Although the villa only has 3 floors, it's over 10 meters high. Landing head first would undoubtedly bring the Reaper. Every time I used my mom to threaten my dad, it worked. This time was no different. He could only agree. Fine, calm down first. I'll contact a school for you." Only then did I smile at my dad. That's my good old dad. "Don't worry. Once I transfer, your son will get into a top university, study finance hard, and come back to help you with the business. Mom's spirit in heaven will bless our father-son success." My dad was so moved. He hugged me and cried for a long time. In the end, he sold me out the next day. Li Shiya came to our house. She pushed my bedroom door open while I was still sleeping. I opened my eyes groggily and saw her walk familiarly to the window and pull the curtains wide open. The sunlight stung my eyes. I growled with anger. "Li Shiya, are you crazy? This is my house. What are you doing barging into my room?" "Your house? Your room? I lived here for 50 years. This is my house too, and my room." She still had that tone from the previous life. In the last life, we lived in this very house after marriage, and my room naturally became our bridal chamber. She straight up opened my wardrobe and took out the clothes and underwear I frequently wore. "Li Shiya, are you sick?" Li Shiya looked at me, stroked her chin, and smiled. "So you had this sleeping habit even now? I thought you... Get out. Get out." "I'm not getting out. What are you going to do? I suppressed you for 50 years. Even if you're reborn, did you think you could escape my grasp?" Li Shiya looked at me with a smile, which made me extremely angry. In the last life, shortly after we married, I knew she didn't like me and I suggested divorce. But she refused on the grounds of being pregnant. She even said this life is what it is, and we should just make do. Now that heaven had given her a chance to not be with me, why did she still have to cling to me? "Li Shiya, acting like this will only make me loathe you, and slowly make me hate you." After I said that, she froze. I ignored her and put on my clothes and pants. Once finished, I opened the door to leave, but Li Shiya hugged me from behind. "Yang Jian, I'm sorry. The question I didn't answer in the last life, I'll answer it for you in this one." I didn't give her the chance to finish and pulled her hands away. Quote, "You don't need to say it. I already knew the answer before I died. 50 years of love couldn't move you. Please let me go." I turned to look at her. "In this life, let's just be most familiar strangers, okay? We're still young, only 18. Life is long. Gradually, you'll forget that I'm someone you don't love. You had regrets in the last life, and I had regrets too. In this life, let's go fulfill our own regrets, okay? Li Shiya shook her head rapidly, crying. No, you're my husband. Can you really bear to throw away 50 years of feelings? I swallowed bitterly. To say I wasn't reluctant at all would definitely be a lie, but I didn't want to repeat the same mistakes. I can bear it. Li Shiya wiped her tears, her eyes turning resolute. I know you don't believe me. You were good to me for 50 years in the last life. In this life, it's my turn to be good to you for 50 years, no matter what I said. She was impervious to both soft and hard tactics, but I couldn't possibly believe her. She'd been reborn, so how could she not seek out her beloved childhood sweetheart, Du Ziteng? After going downstairs, my dad saw me coming down with Li Shiya and was immediately beaming. Come, come, son, daughter-in-law. I've made breakfast for you? I glared fiercely at my dad, grabbed a bun, and left in a huff. Li Shiya also grabbed a bun and followed behind me. If I ran, she ran. If I stopped, she stopped. It was so annoying. For a full half-month, she followed me constantly. When I played ball, she waited in the sun. When I went to the internet cafe, she'd open a machine next to me and watch movies. Even when I went to the bathroom, she'd wait outside. The whole school was in an uproar. No one could understand why a super top student, ranked first in the school, would follow a tail-ender like me all day. There were even rumors that I was a, quote, second generation, and Li Shiya was trying to latch onto me. Li Shiya ignored all of it and just followed me every day. Until one day, Li Shiya didn't come to school. Without her chirping around, I finally felt at peace. She didn't show up even after school ended. Since it was the last Friday of the month and we had a 2-day break, and the exam was approaching, some good friends from other classes invited me to dinner. Otherwise, once we went our separate ways for college, there wouldn't be many chances. With no Li Shiya following me today, I gladly agreed. We went to a food stall. It was cheap with large portions, a favorite for students. By the time we finished eating, it was 10 p.m. We were standing by the road hailing taxis when a buddy tapped my shoulder and pointed toward a hotel entrance. Brother Jian, look, isn't that goddess Li Shiya who's been chasing you for half a month? I looked where he was pointing and saw Li Shiya and Du Ziteng walking out of the hotel together, laughing and talking. Just then, Li Shiya saw me too. Her face stiffened, and she rushed toward me, with Du Ziteng following behind. I sneered. Look at her. Not even graduated from high school. And already so impatient? Stringing me along on one hand, while opening a room with your childhood sweetheart on the other? If I'm not mistaken, she's still 18, right? Seeing my cold face, Li Shiya hurriedly explained, Jian, listen to me. Li Shiya, aren't you hypocritical? I said before, since heaven gave you a chance, you should be with your sweetheart. Why do you have to cling to me? A taxi happened to pull up. I hailed it, gave a cold huff, and got in, telling the driver to leave quickly. In the car, I still unprofessionally shed a tear. Why didn't Li Shiya come back with you? I sighed deeply, and then told my dad, I want to go away for a while, and only come back for the exam. Because my tone and expression said everything, my dad didn't say anything more. I bought a plane ticket to the seaside by myself. My dad once told me that my mom's only wish before she died was to see the sea once. Carrying my mom's urn, I took a late-night flight to Haiku. I took her urn to all the coastal cities, finally arriving in the city she always talked about, Shanghai. My mom was from here and married far away for love. Marrying my mom was probably my dad's greatest luck. Now, many of the products in the Yang family's cosmetics company are related to my mom, which is why my dad always wanted our cosmetics to go global. At dusk, I sat on the beach holding my mom's urn, watching the setting sun. Not far away, a mother and son were sitting. The boy looked about 15 or 16, looking like he'd just suffered a heartbreak. He cried to his mom, Mom, why doesn't the girl I like me back? Is there really any girl in this world who will love me? His mother stroked his head and smiled. Silly boy, when Mom first met you, she was just a 20-year-old girl. Hearing this, my heart trembled, and tears flowed uncontrollably. If my mom knew I had suffered a lifetime and loved a woman who didn't love me for 50 years, she would surely be heartbroken. For a moment, I couldn't hold it back anymore. My tears mixing with snot. Mom, what did I do wrong? I loved her for 50 years. 50 years! Is her heart really made of stone? Do people like me really not deserve to have love? Mom, I miss you. I held my mom's urn, tears dripping onto it. Suddenly, a sobbing sound also rose beside me, and another person's hands covered the urn in mine. Mom, don't worry. In this life, I will take good care of Jian. I swear. I was stunned. I turned around and saw it was Li Shiya. She was holding my mom's urn, crying her eyes out. I instinctively tried to stand up, but she hugged me directly, sobbing. Jian, give me a chance. Listen to me finish, okay? Once I've said it, if you still want to leave me, I promise I'll never bother you again. I didn't say anything but held my mom's urn and watched the sunset on the horizon. She quickly wiped her tears, her eyes red. Jian, I know you've always thought I liked Du Ziteng, both in the last life and this one, but you're wrong, completely wrong. I never said I liked Du Ziteng. I don't know who told you that. Du Ziteng and I are childhood sweethearts, that's true. But who says childhood sweethearts have to like each other? In the last life, at first, I didn't like you because I didn't want to be a tool for my dad's cooperation, so I never gave you a good face. But later, after I got pregnant, didn't you notice I treated you much better? When you wanted a divorce, I didn't agree. I'm a woman. My mouth is a bit stubborn. Couldn't you tell? I said those things because I slowly fell in love with you. In the last life, our two families' companies put so much pressure on me I could barely breathe. I had to find time to go abroad to perform the violin. It was so exhausting. I knew you were good to me, but every time I came back so tired I just wanted to lie down and rest. And I really don't like those designer bags and jewelry. Haven't you noticed that the ring and bracelet were the ones you bought me the first time we went shopping? When she said that, I suddenly remembered. Even though both our families were wealthy, she never wore the expensive jewelry I bought. Only that ring and bracelet I bought at a roadside stall the first time I took her out. Seeing me dazed, she continued. After decades of being together, even an iceberg would melt. Let alone when you were so good to me. Before you died in the last life, you asked if I ever loved you. I hesitated then, but that hesitation wasn't because I didn't love you. I'm not good at expressing myself. Even when I was old, my mouth was still stubborn. At that time, I was thinking about how to phrase it, but then you, Li Shiya, started crying again, her hands hitting me lightly. Who told you to die so fast? How could you die without my permission? I hadn't even said it yet, and you were gone. I wanted to tell you I love you. I really love you. I, Li Shiya, love you, Jian. The day you died, I cried all night. I fell asleep crying, and when I woke up, I found I had been reborn. In this life, I wouldn't let you come to me. I would proactively go to you. Yet you bastard were either mean to me or shouting at me and so cold to me. That day after basketball, I realized you were reborn too. I know it was exhausting for you, for my sake, in the last life. But wasn't I exhausted too? I gave you 2 sons and 2 daughters and helped you manage the Yang family company at the same time. Can't you understand me? She threw herself into my arms, crying like a fountain. Listening to her, I slowly recalled our past life. Although she was always neither hot nor cold toward me, she was very family-oriented. When the Li family became the dominant power, she never forgot to help the Yang family. Aside from not being sweet to me, everything seemed fine. Looking at Li Shiya crying incessantly in my arms, I sighed, my hand finally resting on her back to comfort her. After a while, when she felt better, she looked up. What happened at the hotel wasn't what you thought. Du Ziteng's grandparents came from the county, and since there wasn't enough room at home, I took them to the hotel to open a room. Du Ziteng was just with me, and Du Ziteng and I have only ever been ordinary friends. We grew up together, but there was never any romantic feeling. He only sees me as an older sister. If you don't believe me, come back to my hometown with me right now. My childhood playmates and my parents all know. In my last life, I had heard others say that his parents separated him from his sweetheart to marry her to me. But I never went to check or ask. This was a major knot in my heart. Seeing my hesitation, Li Shiya took out her phone, made a call, and yelled into it, "Get over here right now!" Du Ziteng ran over from behind a trash can not far away. Ran Shiyaji. Li Shiya hugged me directly to declare her territory. Call him brother-in-law? Du Ziteng seemed a bit scared of her and hurriedly shouted, Brother-in-law. With Du Ziteng's explanation, I finally learned that his parents rarely supervised him. If it wasn't for Li Shiya, Du Ziteng wouldn't be a ghost fire. Youth now, but a street thug. Moreover, Du Ziteng had someone he liked. The daughter of a KTV owner he often visited was his age, and they had agreed to marry when they reached the right age. Only then did I fully understand. In the last life, when Du Ziteng got married, Li Shiya asked me to go with her, but I was in a huff and didn't go. The person he married was indeed that KTV owner's daughter. At first, the owner didn't agree to her daughter dating a ne'er-do-well like Du Ziteng, and kept blocking them. So later, Du Ziteng even went back to school and got into an ordinary university. And then the owner finally agreed. Having cleared everything up, the knot in my heart seemed to vanish. Li Shiya looked at me very seriously. In this life, I don't plan to touch the violin anymore. I just want to fulfill our dad's wish to make our mom's cosmetics go global. Jian, can you give me this chance? I was in a great mood. Holding my mom's urn, I stood up and walked toward the hotel. Seeing that Li Shiya didn't follow, I looked back at her, standing there watching my back, and shouted, "Let's go! Back to the room. It's cold at the beach at night, don't go catching a cold." Li Shiya's face lit up instantly. She ran over, hugged my arm, and rested her head on my shoulder. Du Ziteng trotted up too. Sister? Brother-in-law? My ID still can't open a room. You guys have a room, what about me? Li Shiya pointed to a bridge pier, not far away, with a mischievous smile. There's a bridge hole over there you can make do. Tonight is the most important night for your sister and brother-in-law. I can't be bothered with you. After saying that, Li Shiya hurriedly pulled me toward the hotel. A few months later, I looked at the 2 admission notices in my hand with a smile. I didn't get into a top university. I only got into a very ordinary first-tier one. After all, with only 3 months to review, even a reborn person couldn't do everything, and that was only with Li Shiya's help at the end. Otherwise, it would have been second tier at most. As for Li Shiya, because she was happily in love in the final period, she was in a great state and directly became the city's top scholar. However, she didn't go to the best schools in the country. Instead, she chose to go to the same university as me. Li Shiya kissed me from the side and smiled. In this life, I'll give you 2 more children, okay? I nodded. Having loved her for 50 years, what's another 50?